don't want detours to go to the same place. We want that whatever you do, and as the story goes by, small choice that you can do along the way, or big choice that you can like really define your character, and of course, the death of a character will have a huge impact on the story, and you can end up like with the last part of the game that's totally different from one player to the other. Like I can tell you that in one walkthrough of the game, you won't see everything of the game. It's impossible. You play the beginning of the game, and like the game is about 10 to 12 hours in one walkthrough, so it gives you a rough idea of where you are. So you're very much at the beginning, so you see what happens after that. It's something that's hard to imagine, like doing so much work of those scenes, and people will miss it. But then you're like, yeah, but this is part of the thing, because people will see it, like maybe not everybody, but we want people to see different things, to have different experience, and we want also, it's something very important to us, that we want to generate a discussion. Like when you finish your story, you will talk to somebody else who finished his story and said, what did you do? Why did you do that? Because we have a lot of themes and ideas to explore, and what we want is to have people connect to each other and say, why did you make that choice? Why did you choose that destiny for Kara, Connor, or Marcus? And this is what we're looking for. And you can lose the three of them at some point, and it's if you're really bad, but or not. But it's possible that you can lose. Yeah, you can finish the game with one character finishing the story by him or herself. It's all range of endings that could be built from that, because dying in our thing is not a failure for the player. It's just a decision, the result of decision of our action of the player, and it's more important than that. It's just an event in your story. We have great tragedies that are based on the story of great characters dying. We have great TV shows when the main character dies at the beginning of the story. Well, that's also the part of the story, and this is what Detroit is. Because trying to make sense of every possibility, trying to make sense of every choice that we make, but more importantly, trying to make something that's compelling and feel personal to the player, whatever the choice. That we don't want to have like one good version of the story and then the other one that are not as good. We wanted to have like whatever the choice that you make, you end up with something very interesting. And when you had your Connor dying, well, it was something shocking and interesting too, because that's part of what happened. And that was very difficult to do, and it was also very difficult to build after that. That's why it took 4 years for us to make that game, because making sure that in terms of visual and gameplay and cinematography, everything is at the same level. It takes a long time, it takes a lot of energy too. We have a chapters menu, and we can go into any scene and can replay the scene from the beginning, or we can jump at very important checkpoints that you put before important moment or big choices, and you can jump right into those choices and say, okay, maybe I will try something different. So we wanted to do like since a lot of work was put in the fact that there are so many possibilities, and that we showed to the player what are those possibilities. We are very like, we are not hiding anything from the player. He sees every possibility that there is in the game. So we wanted to make him like very easy to just try and explore what are the different choices. It's a lot of communication that needs to be needed in the team, of course. There are a tremendous amount of variables in the team, but like I would take an example, like we're talking about the death of the main characters, but there are also a lot of side characters that you may have met. And those side characters can also die during the story. So you can have like a scene with Marcus talking to different characters, but you have to do a version of that dialogue with one of them that may not be here, and that he won't, maybe he's supposed to say something, but he won't. And what happens to the story? How do you make that consistent and interesting? So it was a very big challenge to have like a sense of continuity that works in every case. Yeah. You have to play in a lot of different ways, and it's always crazy. The crazy part is that when you work on it, even very late, and you're playing and you're like, oh, let's try that, and you're like, I never saw that before, and it happens like shockingly quite late in the process. So right now the game is almost done, ready to be released on May 25th. But it's crazy how much you discover when you see when you try it and try different things.